Does anyone have any questions from yesterday before we begin on today's topics?
Just have one comment.
Comment.
We saw a rainbow on the ride up here.
Oh, a beautiful rainbow. I love rainbows. Yes. And so, what creates a rainbow? Rain. Rain. Don't be afraid of pain, friends. Don't be afraid of pain. Pain is the rain in this metaphor. In this particular metaphor, pain is the rain and joy is the rainbow. They come together. They come together. Darn, I can't remember this quote. There's a fabulous quote by a playwright that says, paraphrasing, when you open your heart, sometimes crazy things come out, and sometimes beautiful things come out. And what matters most is that you open your heart. My guides have talked with me for many years, for decades now, about how to open my heart and how to help other people open their hearts. Pain stretches the heart one way. Grief, pain, sadness, it stretches the heart one way. If we don't resist, if we just let it happen, breathe into it, experience it, don't pretend that we aren't feeling it. Let ourselves feel it. It stretches the heart one way. Joy stretches the heart the other way. When I started to teach these classes, one of the things that I was amazed to find out, first, of course, is that many people have a hard time distinguishing truth from untruth. We talked about that already. And the second one didn't come until I was reading case studies from people in the certification program. I read every single case study that every single person submits. I don't comment on all of them. The mentors comment. And I'm mentoring the mentors to mentor the students. But I read them all. And I've noticed how few people can even put the word joy on a page. They will call it, does anyone know? Fun. Fun. Fun has a very different vibration from joy. The purpose of life is to experience joy, not to have fun. Having fun, we can go to a bar and get wasted, right? That is not joy. And it's not fun either. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's a story we tell ourselves that it's fun, but it isn't. And when you pay attention to how it really feels, you feel sick in your heart. You feel sick in your heart. So, to lighten it up a little bit, because it's first thing in the morning. Here's the thing. The purpose of life is to find joy. How? Yes? So that's what we're talking about this whole weekend and through this entire curriculum. Finding joy for ourselves and for others. Is it okay if we start with the morning topic? Because there was no question just a moment ago. Yes? Yes.
I think that I'm okay with this, but I've had others question me about how do you breathe into pain. Now, the way that I relate to it is I imagine, for instance, if my hip is hurting, I hold it internally as a child, as somebody would hold a child, and just give that love to it. But I don't know that I'm expressing that right because I've tried to share that with other people, and they just...
I think you said it very clearly. I think you said it perfectly understandably. People are disconnected from pain. Our society teaches us, if you feel pain, what should you do? Take a pill, numb it. Don't feel pain. Don't feel pain. And so everybody is conditioned that way. Whereas In fact, pain is a beautiful bringer of a message, a healing opportunity. It's a pathway to joy. Breathe into it and feel it. So that actually segues right into what we're talking.
I can't do any more than that. They have to go through their path and learn it somehow.
Well, I think that's a jump to conclusion.
Okay.
But the point of our work is that everybody is a soul. Every soul has a plan. Every soul has guides, many guides to support the person in achieving the plan. The plan is unique. The plan is individual. We don't have to make generalizations. Generalizations are dangerous. Let's figure out what's up with this person and help them. And how do we figure it out? Not with our helpful minds, because they're not the friends we think they are. Channels up to their guides. Follow directions. We never have to decide a thing. We don't have to know a darn thing. Isn't that wonderful? All we have to do is understand how to create sacred space for ourselves, for our lives, for our healing, for the world. Put our focus up. We're teaching you how to get through the astral planes and connect with the higher dimensions. That's what we're teaching. We're teaching fifth dimensional connection and channeling. Everybody can do it. It's a skill, not a gift. It's a skill, not a gift. Roger.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On the way here, I had a question drop in, and so I asked you to share on it at this appropriate time. Could you share your experience with people that have accepted or have the label of bipolar, schizophrenia, mental illness?
Mental illness. I keep waiting for someone who's actually mentally ill to show up in my healing studio. I've had a lot of people show up with the label. Schizophrenia, dissociative identity disorder, bipolar, shout out some other labels, mental labels, depressive. Oh, that's dissociative identity. It's got a new label now. Bipolar is ADD, ADHD. I haven't found anyone who actually has something wrong with their brains other than the people whose brains have been smashed by the drugs that are given to them. Those people have broken brains. Their brains are broken by the drugs. That too can be healed. What's going on with all the people I've worked with, and I'm not saying that there are no mentally ill people, I'm just saying I've not come across them in all this time. They have something going on energetically. Often the bipolar people have no upward rising earth energy. They're just blown to side to side to side by the energy of everybody walking by them. It's the people who cycle rapidly, there's slow cyclers and rapid cyclers in bipolar. The rapid people are so completely unsupported by earth energy that every single person that comes by them, they're just getting knocked around, feeling how that person feels and that person feels and the other person feels. There's nothing wrong with their mind. More upward rising earth energy would solve their problem. Now, their energy bodies, because they've been buffeted by that, have some secondary situations going on, but all of it can be resolved. And then there is no more bipolar. The slower cyclers have a little bit more of an upward flow, but they're still energy sensitive. They're just energy sensitive. They're being affected. Schizophrenia, goodness gracious, they're hearing voices. Those people are talking to them. They're not crazy. They're psychic. And they're not trained in how to support themselves. People have put the label mentally ill on their head rather than helping them. Help these people. Help these people. They're not crazy. They're gifted and they've come to the world to help, and they're put in mental institutions in some case, or drugged into oblivion until they're drooling messes. Something's really happening with them. Something's really going on. They're aware of it. Just because the people who are diagnosing them aren't aware of it doesn't change the truth of what's going on. Dissociative identity disorder is often a case of entity invasion. And that also is very treatable. And then voila, those disorders go away. And if you think about the conventional therapy for dissociative identity disorder, does anyone know what it is? Well, that too. Integrate the personalities, which, let me tell you what, makes them a lot harder to get out. It's not helpful. It's not helpful. That's not helpful. Stop doing that. Recognize what's really going on and address what's really going on. We're in the process of putting together continuing education applications for social workers, for counselors, because it's so important, it's so needed to help them address what's really going on rather than the superficial behaviors of treatment that are happening in our society today. Depression. Yeah. Depression. Where would you put it in relation to joy? Right. Headed in the wrong direction, right? Something's really wrong. Now, what it is widely variable, dependent on the individual soul plan, but something's wrong. Something's wrong. The soul knows. Something's wrong. Let's not drug the person and say, oh, ignore that. Let's say, okay, now let's figure it out. What is it? What is it that's wrong?
When Western medicine, whoever puts the diagnosis on people and calls it a chemical imbalance,
La 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 la. No, it's not a chemical imbalance. Well, the energetic imbalance may trigger a chemical imbalance. That is measurable. And that actually is a beautiful thing about Western medicine, the ability to measure, because they can measure. For example, this was the one that blew my socks off because it was early on, really early on. Maybe my first or second year of actually working with people outside the practice. Someone came in with a diagnosis of lupus, autoimmune disorder, incurable, measurable by blood tests, easily measurable. Years of documented lupus, incurable lupus. One session, which isn't about me, it was about me needing to know, look what's possible. One session by basically an idiot in the art, let's face it. I was so early on, really, but definitely doing my best. She goes back to her doctor. No more lupus. It is gone. It is gone. That got my attention. That was the phone call that actually scared the pants off me because I thought, ooh, something's really going on here. One. But that doesn't mean, I think that was for my benefit, you understand? I think the teachers sent me that person who came from South Florida somewhere. I don't remember where she came from, or I don't even remember how she got my name. And, oh, yeah. And I do now. And she had that perfectly markered condition, that perfectly measured condition. It was freaky, not to her, but to me. Whereas much more recently, we had someone with, he had a GI, upper GI series. He had ulcers, so many ulcers that were so ready to bleed that the doctor, the gastroenterologist who did the GI said, emergency surgery, scheduled it for next Tuesday. This was like on a Thursday. He called me. We did how many sessions? 1. He goes back in for the surgery. They go to stick the scope down. The ulcers are gone. Gone. There are pink spots where they were. He and the doctor flipped out. I didn't freak out because I'd already had years of, it's like, yeah, well, duh. Of course. Of course. The first one freaked me out, not the client. And now I'm not freaked out about it anymore. There aren't limits, just in our heads. So that's actually a perfect segue to beliefs. Beliefs. That's our topic, first thing this morning. Who's heard our beliefs create our reality? We hear it, right? We hear it. Does it seem really like it could possibly be true? It is, though. It is true. It is true. Our lives show us reality, quote unquote, the illusion of reality. Our lives are showing us exactly what we believe, precisely what we believe. And so first things first, what's most important is to choose empowering beliefs. Choose beliefs that serve us. Does it serve us to think of ourselves as weak, so weak that invisible things called bacteria or viruses could be so terrible that we have to not cough, not change, for example? Or is it empowering and helpful to say, I am a strong creator of my existence. If I'm going to get sick, it's because I'm supposed to be sick. And if I'm not supposed to be sick, I will be well. I will be well. The problem is, that was the wrong word to use. The confusion enters the equation when we start to consider that we didn't create all these beliefs, you see? We're born into a world with a background of beliefs already in place. Who believes we have to eat to stay alive? Yeah, I would say pretty much everybody in this room believes that, right? Come on, because I see you eating. Right. I see you eating. Who believes? But yet, there are many, many people who have proven and documented that that is not true. It is not true that they have lived for days, weeks, months, and years and decades without eating. Who believes they have to breathe to stay alive? Yeah, all the hands should go up. I see you huffing and puffing. And yet, the breathless state is equally well documented, perhaps documented 100 times more effectively than the lack of need to eat. Who believes in gravity? We all do, don't we? We're not bobbing on the ceiling. And yet, levitation, equally well documented to the breathless state. None of those things are actually true. What's true is that if we believe them, it's true for us. It's true for us. So where are these beliefs stored? They're stored in our physical bodies. The higher level class on cellular beliefs addresses very specifically how to get to these really deep beliefs like food, air, the necessities of life. The beliefs we've inherited from our parents as well are stored in the DNA and in the cells. Many people have beliefs in life has to be hard. You have to work hard for every penny you get. Who has that family of origin belief? Right? Right. And so that's just passed down ancestrally, but it can be healed. The cellular healing class last summer, those recordings are available for sale. You can work with this. You don't have to suffer with it. You don't have to suffer with it. Yes, we have it, and now what to do? How do we change it? The less deeply held beliefs, the ones that have accumulated within the current life, are stored in our subconscious mind. Our conscious mind, where we're thinking, has very, very little to do with our lives. It thinks it does, but it doesn't. It's our bodies and our subconscious and our soul. Now, cellular beliefs, the only way I know to work with it is energetically. It's in that class. However, the subconscious mind, we can work with. We can work with the subconscious mind. I know a little bit about how the subconscious mind works because of my experience as a hypnotherapist, a background in hypnotherapy. And so that's all about accessing and working with the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind accepts the first statement on any subject as truth, regardless of whether or not it's true. So if you're born into a family where the belief is you have to work hard for every penny, life is hard, the subconscious mind takes that in and says, oh, okay, you have to work hard for every penny. Okie doke. And then every subsequent input is compared to that initial input, and if it's different, it's rejected as a lie. So if you're born into a family that believes you have to work hard for every penny, no matter how much you say, money comes easily to me, the subconscious mind is very possibly going to say, that is a big fat lie. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. However, the subconscious mind reacts to every question as a new experience. So, who has worked with affirmations, positive statements of truth? Do you mind keeping your hands up? And of those people, who have discovered that sometimes they work and sometimes they don't work? Right. I didn't see any hands go down. Is that true? Yeah. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't work. So here's what's going on there. Your background belief, your subconscious mind's belief, has a certain vibration, whatever it is. Is it okay if we use the money example? Love and money, those are the two things that everybody obsesses about all the time. So we'll use one of them now and one of them later. Let's use money now. And see, when really what we want is joy. And we're so confused because our society says, if you have enough money and have enough love, you'll be joyful. That's not true! That's not true! It's a lie. It's a lie. But anyway, not to get distracted. You're vibrating to something about money. Let's just take the example of you're vibrating to money's hard to come by. Money doesn't grow on trees. Right? And now you use your affirmation. Shout one out about money. Some affirmation you've been working with about money.
I'm a money magnet attracting larger and larger sums of income.
Thank you. Perfect. So that's got a faster vibration, a higher vibration. We'll just let that one wiggle around. Now over here, this vibration is probably too different, and instead of being drawn into it, this subconscious mind says, well, that's a big fat lie, and rejects it as untruth, perhaps making it worse. However, if your background belief is, I'm really a pretty powerful creative experience. I've made $100,000 before, in a year, I can do it again. I've hit that 6-figure mark. I can do it again. I'm just having an off year. Say it again. Money.
I'm a money magnet attracting larger and larger sums of income.
Yes, I am.
Well, I'm in
Be-
a prosperous flow.
Yeah, or anything. You see, because the vibration is close enough. It's close enough. The foundational belief is already there. And so it's not a problem. However, we have questions that work in any situation. And so we can take that same, I'm a money magnet. Can I just shorten it to I'm a money magnet? Because
the magnets sometimes repel too.
aha, you just made my point. But we'll just take, I'm a money magnet. Money comes to me easily. How about that? Money comes to me easily. And we turn it into a question. And the question always starts with, teaching team, what's the word? Why? Why does money come to me easily? Why does money come to me easily? So the subconscious mind says, a question? I'm on it. Why does money come to me easily? That's an excellent question. I do remember finding loose change now and then. Once I found a $20 bill. Once, when I was working as a cocktail waitress in college, I got a $100 tip. Yes, I did. Money does come to me easily. Poof. Why? So consider, however, what questions do we normally ask ourselves when we're having money troubles?
What am I doing wrong?
What am I doing wrong? Why is it so hard? Why don't I have any money? Well, don't you remember when you failed that math test in 2nd grade? And don't you remember when you actually peed in your pants when you were 3 after you were supposed to be potty trained? You moron. Don't you remember all those stupid things you've done in your life? You loser. What's that you say? Why does money come to me so easily? Oh, because I really care about my clients. Nobody could possibly care more than I do. Why else does money come to me easily? Because Source loves me and wants me to be joyful. And that's the actual answer to all of those why questions. Source loves you and wants you to be joyful. But the point is not to hear the answer. The point is to ask the question and get the subconscious mind headed in the right direction. Yes?
Because the subconscious mind will give up its initial belief if it's in a question mode. Is that what you're saying?
The subconscious mind treats questions as new experiences. It doesn't compare it to a state. It will take a statement and compare it to what it already holds as fact.
Right.
But a question is just new information. A question? Yes, I'll find out for you.
Didn't you say that we're born and first things that are given to us or that we hear or sense somehow, we make those true. So when the question comes, that's another new experience.
The question
We
is a
make it
new
true.
experience.
And then we can make it true with the right answers because Source loves me and wants me to be joyful.
You don't even need to do that. You just continue to ask the question. You continue to ask the question. You continue to ask the question. Because you might also not believe that Source loves you and wants you to be joyful. I'm sorry to mention this, but think how few people actually come up with that word, joy. Well, Elaine Silver, you go, girl. It might work for you. But what I'm trying to say is something that will work for everybody. What will work for everyone is to ask questions, Jan. Tell me yours.
Well, a few months ago, a while back, I asked what would have to happen. I always ask, I wonder what would have to happen for me to have a better connection.
Ha! Yes! Perfect.
So for
And
me
here
to
you
say,
are in this
why
class.
does money come to me easily? I still reject that. But if I ask, I wonder what would have to happen for me to increase my income, or I wonder helps is a little softer for me.
Wonderful, and thank you for making this point. The point is, again, that everyone is unique and individual, and so what works for one person, that wording might not be exactly the same as what works for another person. We're going to be enjoying gospel music for the next hour and a half, or perhaps 2 hours. We taught here a couple of weeks ago, and we found them to be good. So we will welcome this background soundtrack to our experience today. I'm going to, because what we have, do we have those beliefs books, friends? Yes. Noah St. John and Denise Berard are authors, and they work with this concept of positively worded questions. They call it affirmations. I had been working with it through the hypnosis community for years, before I came across their good work. But they have good work, and so they have these little pocket books that are just full of choices of positively worded questions on any topic, of course, heavily dominated always by the obsessions of our culture, which are money and love. Yes. And sex. Money, love, and sex. I don't know if they have sex things in there. Oh, fabulous. Because that's even further confusion, but we're not going down that story. So what I'm trying to get to here is we have control of our beliefs. Our beliefs are creating our reality. They're not created at the level of the conscious mind, and it's very difficult to get to them at the level of the conscious mind, but you can get to them easily and effortlessly, energetically, and by working with the subconscious. And so create strong, empowering beliefs. Create beliefs that support growth, discovery. Create beliefs that sensitivity and strength go together. Create the belief you're strengthened and healed by all events of life. Create the belief there's no bad. Energy is just energy. Belief adds that. It's bad. And meanwhile, you got to support it with physical dimension actions, because beliefs shift, but they shift in layers. So now we're segueing. That's what that just was, the segue. We're shifting to supporting our well-being with physical actions while we're working over the long haul to shift our beliefs. In the long run, changing beliefs is what changes our experience most effectively. And in the short run, use the tools that are available, is how my guides word it. Support yourself with physical dimension actions. When we have belief mastery about food, for example, we can be perfectly healthy while not eating, or we can be perfectly healthy while eating rocks and drinking gasoline. I'm totally serious. Don't try that. Don't try that, just to make sure. I'm not saying that. But it's true. It's true. So we start working with our beliefs, and while we're working to master our beliefs, we watch what we put into our bodies. Does everything have a vibration? Yes. Does this water, for example, have a vibration? Yes? And where is that vibration now? It is. It's going to be absorbed into me. Right now it's just dribbling down my esophagus and getting into my stomach, but very soon, perhaps within a minute, it'll start entering my bloodstream. Biochem, Lori, check me on that. Right? About a minute. Water. Yeah? Chemistry major. Sorry. Can't help it. So friends, let's think about alcohol and other intoxicants. What do they do to our minds? Fry it, numb it. If the goal is increasing subtle energy sensitivity, if that's the goal, pouring intoxicants into your system heads you in the other direction. I was never, well, that's totally not true. In my teenage years, I was a heavy drinker, a binge drinker, but not for many, 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 many years. I did like a nice glass of red wine when we would go out to dinner, or a glass of champagne. And that was not something I wanted to give up. But I noticed that after drinking one glass of wine or champagne, it would take me 3 days for my energy body to get back to its normal pitch. 3 days. 2 glasses, it's a week. Am I willing to pay that kind of price for a glass of wine? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Your choice might be different, and that's fine. I'm not telling you what to choose. I'm just saying become aware of what you're doing and consider the ramifications. Consider what's really going on, and then make your choice with all the facts in your mind. With all the facts in your mind. So if your goal is to increase your subtle energy sensitivity, consider letting go of intoxicants. What's that about anyway? Numbing, right? Why do we really want to numb ourselves? Don't we want to instead feel joy powerfully and intensely? Yes, we do, we do. So friends, let's also talk about other numbing agents. The ones that come from the pharmacy. Sleep aids, pain meds, anxiety aids, ADD drugs, Parkinson's diseases, antihistamines. All of these have extreme numbing compounds. Think of it. You take a Benadryl so you can sleep. It's so numbing, it puts you to sleep. Don't put those things in your body if your goal is to increase your subtle energy sensitivity. If that's your goal. Don't put those things in your body. Now,
I'm a pharmacist, so that raises the question of a lot of the drugs that you're on, like for those, are addictive. At
yes,
least in
they're
my world, they are.
extraordinarily addictive.
So if you have obviously there's a taper off mode that I would typically advise patients. If you've done a treatment on someone, do you have a different response where they can quickly get off?
Every situation is unique, and every person's guides knows really what he or she is up for. Now, some people with energy, it's possible to take those really long taper-off periods and have them happen quickly. I would never advise somebody to just stop it. However, I have had clients come to that conclusion themselves and do it. I didn't tell them to do it. They did it, and they were fine. Every person is unique. Every person is individual. I also want to add something to that because I had fibromyalgia. I was sick for 7 years, so sick that I was disabled for 2. Fibromyalgia is a disease of mental confusion, physical pain, chronic fatigue, and sleep disorder. Sleep disorder. So I know what it is to go days without sleep. And sometimes you just have to break the cycle of bad. So I understand that. I understand that. Do what you need to do. But be aware of how it affects you, and over time, minimize it. Does that make sense?
If you have anxiety and you use like oral supplements, does that also, that's numbing as well?
I think that the natural supplements are much more gentle on the system and much less like a hammer to the head, to the brain. I think there's still something going on there. But every situation is unique, and so I really can't emphasize that enough. I am not telling anybody what to do with their lives. Make your own choices. What I'm saying is, as you start to pay attention, you'll notice how it does affect you. You'll say, all right, I'm going to take this St. John's wort, and now I'm going to be alert for several days and see how it really affects me. Or if you're used to taking it, you've been taking it, try not taking it. And see, just see. With pharmaceuticals, that's a little bit dangerous because it's too heavy and you can really give yourself a wild experience. But with the herbals, it tends to be a little less extreme, and you can just try it. Just be aware. That's all I'm saying is just be aware. Notice what you do. Notice how you're living. Notice how it affects you. Be mindful. There's one thing that's excellent for us. Water. Moving energy burns water. Burns water molecules is how they say it. What that means is it's dehydrating to move energy. And so you just have to continually hydrate, super hydrate, drink a lot of water. It creates an energy shifting environment. I notice, and I've talked with other team members about this, I don't know if any of them are in the room, teaching team, who's noticed that sometimes you'll just kind of forget to drink and get really dehydrated at times when you're up against trying to change, and what really is happening is you're getting afraid of the change, and so you forget to drink water because that'll dehydrate your system and make it easier to stay stuck and harder to change. So it's a wonderful way of noticing, oh wow, I've just really gotten triggered because I forgot to drink all day. Now what triggered me? Almost done with this, and then we'll take a break. So, unless you're taking a great class by webinar, minimize your electronics exposure. If you're energy sensitive, what probably most of you are, a lot of vibes come off our computers. Over the long run, the solution, of course, is to create the belief that everything supports you. In the short run, two things. First, minimize your exposure to electronics of any variety, and work with the energy of them to heal them. They're alive too. I know that it's harder to think of machines as alive, and we tend to treat them as if they're just machines, implying that they aren't alive. But they are alive. And so if you say to your cell phone, thank you so much for all that you do for me, and now what I'm going to ask you to do is shift your vibrations. Would that be all right with you? Asking it for permission, right? And then call for the higher dimension beings to change the vibrations of the cell phone. Ask for permission, and then create a healing system. Create a healing system. Engage in a healing system that will help. Does that make sense? And really, the bottom line is pay attention to how your lifestyle affects you. See if it serves your long-term goals, not your short-term goals. Work with your beliefs. All right. We're going through this segment on self-care. Friends, we're talking about self-care as a healer here. That's really fundamentally what we're talking about this morning. Many healers, gentle, loving, caring, compassionate, kind people go into healing professions of various kinds and burn out. They burn out right away. Many people do. There's no need for that. First and foremost, powerful, uprising earth energy. We talk about this over and over again. Over and over again. Keep that energy rising up. It's not so much about, bless you, upward rising earth energy as it is about balance. And we'll get to, I don't know if we get to that later on or not, so I'll put it in here just in case. We're humans. Throughout the course of human history, until about 250 years ago, we lived connected to the land. We lived connected to the land. And so that upward rising earth energy just happened naturally, either as hunter-gatherers or as agriculture agriculturalists, farmers, we have lived with the land as part of our daily occurrence. 250 years ago, what happened? Industrial Revolution. Life changed. Life changed. So now we find ourselves at this stage where we aren't even allowed to touch the paper towel dispenser. We must wave our hands like fruitcakes to get paper towels to come out. We can't roll down the windows of our cars. We use buttons, and that's been around for so long that we accept that as normal, whereas the paper towel thing is still weird, right? Right, well, relatively weird. So the point is this. What used to happen naturally doesn't happen naturally anymore, and that's perfectly fine. Now it's our jobs to draw up earth energy with our intention and with our actions. And we'll talk about the actions part of it later on when we get to how to support yourself at the end of the day. But it's not so much upward rising energy. The goal actually is, the goal is balance in the system. The system is deficient in upward rising earth energy. In order to achieve balance, we have to draw up more earth energy. Does that make sense? So there we go. I wanted to make that point. So friends, we've talked about supporting our well-being with our physical diet. And our mental diet is every bit as important. What we put into our minds is maybe more important than what we put into our bodies. Because when we feel safe, we open up to receive. And when we're putting things that are scary in our minds, we don't feel safe. So we can just be mindful and minimize our exposure to violence and cruelty and pessimism. Think about it. The news, what is put out as news, is typically full of violence, negativity, pessimism, cruelty. Just because those people say this is news and put it out as news doesn't mean it's news. You understand? You don't have to buy that. You can make your own choice. Minimize. News should empower you to live effectively, not paralyze you with fear. That's not news. That's something else. It isn't news. News is what empowers you to live effectively. Entertainment. Entertainment should increase joy, not fear. Consider, start to pay attention to what you're treating as entertainment and news in your life. Don't buy it just because society says that's entertainment doesn't make it so. You should feel better, not worse, better, not worse, better, not worse, after watching a movie, reading a book, listening to music. Yes? So just watch what you're putting in your mind and be aware that you have a choice about it. You have a choice about it. When my daughter was in diapers, I reached the tipping point and cut my cable. No TV. We're not doing that anymore. It had been weaned down to PBS and the Weather Channel. And then there were two things, boom, boom. I don't really remember what they were, but it's like, oh, wow. Okay, we can't have this in our house. No more TV. She's a senior in NYU right now. It's been 20 years. Do I seem to have suffered from this lack of news or entertainment? No. It's a choice. You're choosing to do it. Just because everybody else chooses to do it doesn't mean it's good for you or for them. So just consider. That's all I'm saying. Pay attention to what you're doing with your life. Pay attention. News should empower you to live more effectively. Entertainment should fill you with joy. If it doesn't, it's not news and it's not entertainment. So in order to offset the barrage that's just kind of incoming from society, you have to offset it with positive things. feed your mind good things. The miracle of mindfulness, the art of forgiveness, loving kindness, and peace. The Places That Scare You. Those books changed my life, and many others like them, many others like them. We have those books on our table. We have books on our table that are designed to support your well-being. They have vibrations that support your well-being. So be aware that there's an incoming barrage from society and offset it. Does that make sense? You can do it. You can do it. Calm the inner world with peace and with love. If you have formed the habit of watching TV, it's okay. Get something to watch that's worth watching. This video, planetary healing videos, other things that teach you something worth having. I'm not saying this is the only thing worth having. I'm not. I'm saying find something that's worth learning and learn it. Yes.
Like, I'm in a household with a husband that likes, he has the news on 24/7. You know, I can go to another part of the house where I don't have to hear it, but is it affecting me still, even though I'm in the same area?
What do you think, Lisa?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was working with someone just 2 days ago on this exact topic. Living with someone who's pumping negativity into the household, and what her guide said is actually a number of things, including what are you doing living there? But also, you can offset it. Use sprays that, this is space clearing spray, use sprays and use them abundantly. Play music in the background that has sacred tones to it. Kirtans, Ave Maria, just whatever means sacred to you. You know what makes you cry with joy. You know what makes your heart open up. Play that. Have it in the background. Music has power. It has power. What her guides were basically saying is, you got to do something. First, you need to get out of that house. But while you're working on gathering up the courage to do that, offset the vibrations. Offset the vibrations. And maybe he'll leave. That's what happened for me. Not my choice.
I'm intrigued about this idea of working with your electronics. So the goal in doing that is what?
Raising vibrations.
Within the electronic.
In your life. The goal is raising vibrations in your life.
Right, but you're doing that by raising the vibration of the electronic equipment?
The discussion on electronics was to make the point that they're alive. That
Yes.
everything is alive. Everything is alive. But now we're talking about raising the vibration of our environment, and you can see how the two interact, yes?
Right.
You have to get permission. So in this case, that person who's pumping negativity into the system might not be willing, you see, to have energy healing happen. In my experience, electronics are pretty much universally willing to have energy healing happen, but you have to ask them. Otherwise, that would be invasion.
So you can literally do a whole thing on your cell phone.
Why not?
Why not? Okay, there you go.
It's alive. It has guides. I know that you don't believe me. Try it. See for yourself.
You're not asking for specific. You're just asking for.
You can never ask for a specific for
Raising.
someone else. That's manipulation.
Right. So you're just asking for a generic energy healing for the device.
Yes. Yes. Every situation is unique. And so all we ever do is put our channels up to our subject's guides. Once we have aligned with divine flow, receive their intentions, merge in, become them, channels up to their guides, ask for them to receive what they need most, for them to be brought to their highest and best good, for them to be living their life plan, something that is in tune with their intention. Be the witness to what occurs. At this level, that's all we're working with. Add the tools in that you can learn later on, if you wish. Do a good close. Errors and omissions, raise it to divine perfection. Separate, trust. We're complete. And it doesn't matter what we're working on. It works with anything, any subject, any topic, anything. It's divine energy healing. There are no limits. I say this, and you nod, and then the questions come, and in every class, and please don't hear this as personal. I'm just saying it's a process of getting to the point that we really can accept the truth of that there aren't limits. There aren't. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Segueing to the next topic, breathing. Energy is the subtlest form of breath. So if we're having a hard time focusing on subtle energy, we can back up and start with breath for just a little bit and notice our breathing. And actually in the opening process, we begin with this to kind of ease in to connecting with energy. We start with our breath. Understand that breath has power because breath contains energy. It's drawing in energy. And that breath can be directed. So we can, in effect, direct our energy in a way that we can notice during the time that we're working to sense subtle energy. Does that make sense? So I think we're going to do an experiential, but let me just check on that. Let's just do this right now. This is the best way to do it. You can put your things down because that'll make it easier to experience. Is that all right with you? And I'll just keep my notes because otherwise I may lose focus. So friends, let's just take a moment. First, wiggle around just a little bit. Just wiggle in your chair to wake your body up. Refresh your energy back to front and front to back, side to side. Swish your energy top to bottom and bottom to top. Come into that intersection of heart chakra and vertical channels. Feel it pop. There you go. There you go. There you go. Now, we're going to start breathing deeply and fully, deeply and fully, deeply and fully, deeply and fully. Noticing how your body feels. Nice shift. Congratulations. Beautiful. Excellent. There you go. Nice expansion. Excellent. Very good. Just with that, energy is shifting. Did you notice within 15 seconds of starting the breathing exercise, 2 significant shifts, sitting back to back, by the way. Right. We affect each other. Our energy overlaps. So now, friends, notice, are you breathing equally into the right lung as into the left? Usually we aren't. Have the intention to breathe into that less used lung, as if you could breathe only into it, not into the other lung, which of course is very difficult, but can be done. Just breathe into that less used lung. And now, friends, notice, are you breathing equally into the front of the lungs and into the back? Usually we aren't. Usually we're breathing in the front of our lungs more than in the back. So have the intention to breathe right down the very back of the lungs, and especially down the back of that less used lung. Nice. Now, Usually we're breathing shallowly in the tops of our chests, even after the intention to breathe deeply. Our lungs come down all the way to our waist, all the way down to our waist. Our whole rib cage contains the lungs. So have the intention to breathe into the waist, into the back of that less used lung, all the way down to the waist. Who needs help understanding? Does this make sense? Yeah. Who notices things happening? Really? Not everyone? Can we do that just for help me? Hand way up high. Do you notice something shifting? Really? Wow. Sometimes we need help connecting with our bodies. Sometimes we've been judging our bodies so harshly for so long that we have disconnected ourselves from them and we can't even feel our breath. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We can come to this state that we can feel. Just be willing. Don't judge pain as bad. How about this? Who's with you from birth to death, your entire life?
Your body.
Body. Your body. Your body. Your body is your best friend. It sticks with you through thick and thin. It's there every day. And how do we normally talk about our bodies? Critically. Think about it. Friends, who has thought harsh thoughts about their belly lately? Can we just take a moment and say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was confused. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you, belly. Thank you for being there with me the whole time. The whole time. The whole time. And now try to breathe right on down into that belly. Feel it. Actually feel it. Don't try to not feel it. Don't try to wish it wasn't there. This is our best friend. Breathe into it. Now, show of hands, who feels something shifting? Wonderful. Obviously, it isn't just physical pains that we can breathe into to release. Obviously, it's emotional pains. Sometimes it's anxiety or depression or tension or irritability. And we can notice those just the same and breathe into them too. Not trying to push them away, not judging them and making them bad, but just breathing into them with love. Thich Nhat Hanh says, breathe into it like a loving mother holds a crying child. Come here, my little anxiety, my little pain, my little tension. Come here. Let me love you. Think about it. When a child is crying, a dog, a puppy is crying, what do? Pick it up, nurture it, give it love. Same thing with our anxiety, our pain, our tension. Give it love. Very briefly, we'll talk about movement. In this, we're going through a parade of self-care, and we're almost done. So hang in there, hang in there. We're coming. This is the This is almost the last theoretical discussion, and then we're moving into experientials, and then those are much more fun. Those are then much more fun. But you see, this is information that most of us needs. Who feels this is potentially helpful to them in some way or another? This is usually how it is. So just hang in there. We're almost done with this part. Movement. Moving our bodies. Just as our energy bodies affect our physical form, Our physical form affects our energy bodies. Energy blockages build up in our system, and we can affect it by moving. Who notices sometimes up here I just, give a little shake? It's not I'm spastic. It's that something is needing to be moved on up and out in most cases. And so there are many little motions. Dance has many of them. Latin dance especially. It's got these great little motions that really pump your energy body and help you release blockages. We have in these classes many different styles of movement because we're trying to make this point. Movement has power. Not any particular style. We're not trying to make the point that dance has power or yoga has power or Tai Chi has power or anything. We're saying movement has power. So find something that you like to do and do it. And do it every day. Every day. A little bit every day keeps your system clear, keeps it flowing. Two kinds of movement. First, moving all the joints and muscles so that the blockages have a chance to be encouraged to let go. Right? Full range of motion, a little bit every day. It doesn't take a lot of time. And secondly, raise that heartbeat. Raise that cardio. Not for the benefit of the heart, that's secondary, for the benefit of the upward rising earth energy. Now everybody's at a different fitness level, so what works for one person isn't right for another. You have to work with what's right for you. But this is important, friends, and we can get to the point that we feel hopeless about it, and then we put it off. So just remember, just take the first step. Just do something. Just do something. And then keep going. You have to find what works for you. Personally, I need structure. I don't have the discipline. Friends, do you think it's possible I'm an unusually disciplined person? I'm extremely disciplined. But I need structure or I won't exercise even though I actually love it and I've exercised all my life. So I know that about myself, so I have a gym membership and I go take classes. I take classes at the gym, except for Mondays when I run. But I have a structure, I have a system, and I stick with it. And so you have to find something that will support you in moving, and moving every day, and moving enough to get the energy flowing through your system. That's what this is about. Get the energy flowing through your system and get those blockages going. The more energy we have flowing through our system, the easier it is to release blockages. Exercise increases the flow. There's a side benefit of exercise. Oh yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. Of course, it's good for you. It's good for your physical body. It increases your physical well-being. It increases your emotional state, your endorphins, and also your clarity of mind. Mental state to me is clarity of mind. The endorphins affect our emotional body. So exercise affects our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body, and of course our energetic body. Of course our energetic body. But it helps us develop potential for breakthrough. Who has some area in their life that you would like a breakthrough in? Would you like a breakthrough in some area or another? So, yes, this is how it always is. Everybody wants breakthrough in something or another. And so breakthrough is just very possible. As we create a pattern of challenging ourselves in any area, we make it possible to challenge ourselves in other areas. Breakthroughs occur when we challenge ourselves. When we staying still, doing the easy thing, the same thing we've always done over and over and over again. What is the potential? Sorry. Trying to get the flowers from blocking people. What is the potential for breakthrough when we're just doing what we've always done? Not too much. So develop the habit of challenging yourself. And exercise has this side benefit. It's measurable. If you can't run a mile now and you set the goal to run a mile by the end of the month, it's measurable. When my son was 17, He signed up for his first marathon. He'd already run a couple halves at the age of 17. And he signed up for his first marathon, and he came to me and he said, "Mom, will you run the marathon with me?" I couldn't run to the stop sign at the end of my street. 0.1.5 miles, 0.15 miles, tenth of a mile. It was 6 months before the marathon. I said, "Honey, realistically, I don't think I can run the full, but I'll run the half. I'll run the half." So I started. 2 hours and 36 minutes it took me, and 17 seconds. It took me to run the half the first time, which is not a speed queen, but I didn't stop. I didn't take a single walking step. So it's about developing a habit of challenging ourselves. And then I had to do it again to prove that I could. To myself, you see, to prove that I really could do it. Did I really do that? Let me do it again just to make sure. To solidify the breakthrough, you see, to solidify the breakthrough. So exercise has that gift. It's measurable. Set a goal and have it be something that you can get to, and a longer term goal that will draw you forward again. Does that make sense? That's the benefit. Create a habit for breakthrough to change your life. Really, what I'm trying to get at is this. Our lives come from choice. A lot of that choice comes from habit, habitual choice. We've chosen it in the past, and we just keep doing the same thing because that's what we do. But we can reevaluate all of our choices in any moment. In any moment, we can choose again. And as we become more mindful of the choices that we're actually making and how they're actually affecting us, and we choose different choices, our lives transform, and it does not have to take a long time. It does not have to take a long time. It can happen in a moment. It happens the moment we believe it to be true. Getting there can be a process, but the moment we believe it to be true, it is done. It is done. So connect to life is another, I said that wrong. Connect to the divine, thank you. Connect to the divine in whatever way works for you. Music, sunsets, nature, kids playing, puppies. It doesn't matter. Find something that works for you and do it every day. Every day, just a little bit every day. 5 minutes makes a huge difference. I believe in the power of meditation, exercise, gardening, kids, animals, plants, sunsets. Those beautiful moments that life delivers to us in a continual stream, if we just stop and notice. They're there in every moment. They're there in every moment. There's something of beauty, a beautiful gift in every moment. So if we just develop the habit of stopping just once a day and find a gift, it's there. And then the habit starts to form. And the moment actually does come, where every moment is a gift. It does. I'm running late. I'm sorry. What we're going to do is some experientials now. We've talked about all the concepts in terms of physical actions, and now we're going to work with actually shifting energy, because this is an energy shifting class. That's what we're talking about. 5% of the benefit comes from the message, 95% comes from shifting energy. So let's shift some energy now. What we're going to start with is an exercise in optimizing our own energy, and then we'll follow that with an exercise in optimizing our environment, the energy around us, the energy we live in. Is this okay with you? Good plan? All right. All right. The notes are there on page 15, and so you can have them for future reference. When you go home, please try to do this again. It feels great. It makes a huge difference in your state of well-being. It's joyful. But for now, why don't you put those notes down, because I have mine, and I'll talk us through it. Friends, everyone, right now, draw more upward rising earth energy right now. That was what I was doing. Did you notice? Anybody notice? Here I am. Brrr, and then I thought, everybody do it. Everybody. Just, and you can do it any way you want. You don't have to wiggle around, but it helps, you see? And now you can just draw it up. Start to draw it up. And now as we start this exercise, let's begin with the end in mind. Who's ever read Stephen Covey? Right. I was in business. I've read a lot of Stephen Covey. Begin with the end in mind. And in this case, the end, the goal, is a straight, strong, solid pillar of light from the center of the planet to the center of the universe, through us and around us, so big we can't fall out of it, we can't lunge out of it. Even when that person makes us crazy angry and we go to lunge, we're still within divine presence. And we remember faster, you see, than if we have a tiny little narrow pillar or one that doesn't even cover our bodies, and then we're just gone into crazy when the triggers come. So, straight, strong, beautiful, clear, light, bright, pillar of light, like a fiber optic cable running from the center of the planet to the center of the universe and back down, filled with light, radiating into the world. Now, let's begin. Now, let's begin. This vertical focus is the most important focus. This is what matters most. It is not embedded in the wisdom traditions, because the wisdom traditions began when we lived naturally connected to the earth. Now we have to do it ourselves, but we can do it ourselves. We can. So start to draw up divine Father Earth energy. Start with Father Earth. Father Earth, Father Earth. Just because our culture calls it Mother Earth doesn't make it so. There are 7,000 cultures on Earth today, half of them, more than half of them, severely endangered. And many of those, it's Father Earth. There isn't a right or wrong. You see, it's just what we believe. So draw up Father Earth, divine Father Earth energy through us and around us from the very center of the planet in an upward rising river of love. Now, knowing that we're basically tubes of light. Think of fiber optic cables that have spread apart, and now what we want to do is bring our fiber optic cable back, packing it in, drawing those intuitive channels from the state of outness to the state of upness, drawing them up, up, up. Now we can do this from inside of ourselves. That's what we're doing right now. And we can do it from outside of ourselves by picturing ourselves as a pillar of light in front of us and using our powerful energy hands to smooth our pillars of light up from the outside. Does that make sense? It seems as though you get it. Webinar friends, does this make sense to you? Please let us know. There are two ways to work with our own, many ways of working with our own energy body. Two of those include working from the inside, as we've been doing since yesterday morning, and working from the outside, as we're doing right now. Sometimes as we're working from the outside, using whatever subtle sensing is comfortable for us, be it hands or sight or hearing or smell or whatever it is, we notice the bumps, the lumps, the broken spots, the places where our energy bodies have things sticking out strangely. It's normal, it's natural to have those. Don't try to not see those. Everybody has those. That's normal. Now we train them to go up, 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 up. And friends, because we're eternally growing on an eternal life path, we have continual new growth that happens at the edges of our pillars of light. And so that new growth is pure like a baby, but no muscle tone, just like a baby. So the new growth will come up and just fall out naturally. It doesn't have strength, but it can be trained. It can be trained. So from the outside, you can smooth these up. And remember, we're not just smoothing at the level of our body. I see that happening with a lot of what's going on right now. With your focus and intention, reach from the center of the planet to the very center of the universe, which can happen in a hologram 2 feet tall. Does that make sense? That's better. That's better. Lindsay, 10 times bigger than you think you are. You're 10 times bigger. Do it right now. 10 times bigger. Yeah. Now, double it again. Everybody, friends, double how big you think you are. You're working too small. You're working too small. Double it again. Double it again. And once more, double it again. What we're not doubling our size, we're doubling our perception of what size we are. We're claiming the fullness of what we actually are. Lots of yawns. There you go. Double it again, honey. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. And what's going to happen is that pressure feeling will go away. Will go away. The crying, the overwhelmed feeling is because you think you're smaller than you are. So first just claim it. Say, what if I am in fact the size of the solar system? What if in fact I am? Okay? Don't get weird in your head about what that might mean. Just draw it up. Better, right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, friends, this vertical focus is the most important part, but the moment comes where we've done what we can for now, or we get to the point of diminishing returns, and so shifting to another way of relating can be very helpful. So now, knowing that our energies intermingle all the time, let's call our energies back, call our energy back to us, and release everyone else's energy back to them. And we're not talking so much about the people that we're sitting around right now as about the people in our lives who we've exchanged energy with, who those connections are still there. The energy exchange is still going on, even though with our conscious minds, we don't think we want to do that anymore. So let's just say it energetically. Let's just say it. I am complete. I am complete. I'm going to call my energy back to me. I'm sending your energy back to you. Thank you for the lesson. Thank you for the gift. I really appreciated it so much. And now we are complete, we are complete, we are complete, we are complete. Who notices things happening? Isn't that astounding? Mm-hmm. You can wiggle around. Sorry. Let me check my time. Okay. Wow. Let's do one more thing. We're running out of time. Let's do one more thing, though. The focus is, of course, predominantly vertical. This is what we need the most. That is not included in most of the work that we're already doing. But those chakras can also be cleared. Now, keep in mind that the chakras in our physical body are the small part of the picture. We're the tiny little part. Think, how many miles is it to the center of the planet? Does anybody know diameter of the planet? Isn't it like radius 4,000 something? No, that's the circumference. 2 pi r squared. I don't know. Anyway, it's a long way down, right? And a long way to the center of the universe, right? So, more than 5.5 or 6 feet. So let's now, side to side with our powerful hands, start with all of our earth chakras, all of them active or inactive, all of them that are between our feet and the center of the planet, or the center of the solar system, or the center of the universe. Swishing right on down. Go through the center of the planet and connect into the center of the universe. It's down there too. Swishing all those chakras. Side to side is good because this helps us get over the idea that we can only clear chakras in one way. Chakra clearing is easy and can be done from many angles. It doesn't have to be a life's work to clear a chakra. We can do it in 3 minutes. Expand it, flush it, we're done. Now, come up into the body chakras, do all the chakras at once with your intention. And of course, when you're at home, you can break it down and go through all the chakras individually, but we're on a time schedule. And now, the chakras above your head that go in an endless series from the top of the crown to the center of the universe, all those sky chakras at once, clearing them all. Whew! Helping tremendously to clear that connection to spirit. Now, remember, just as we're clearing the heart chakra, we can double up the, I skipped the most important part. Ha ha! This is the secret of life. Not really, but it's a very effective technique. It's a very effective technique. When I look out my window and notice that my client, I work next door to my house, my client, who I thought the appointment was at 2 o'clock, is there and it's 1 o'clock. Aha! The speed cleanse. It's important to know how to clear our energy bodies in a flash, because sometimes things are happening in our life and we need to deal with it now. And we don't have 15 minutes. We have 10 seconds. 10 seconds. So these tops, where you compress it from end to end, this is designed to show us what we can do with our pillars of light. So first let me try and get it going. Our pillars of light, is that great? I love that. It sings. Our pillars of light equally can be compressed from end to end, but magically spin both directions simultaneously, spewing out like with a centrifuge that goes both directions, everything that's unhelpful right into the vortex, which you can power up really fast, power up the vortex, and now let's spin our fields. Everybody put a hologram of your pillar of light in between your hands, ready? Just like this. If you get dizzy, you can go slower. Whew. If you get lightheaded, yeah, isn't that nice? Really does balance it fast. Now draw up more earth energy, because some of y'all are taking off into the clouds. More earth energy, more earth energy, more earth energy. Upward rising, yes? So just as we spin our vertical bodies, and that is the most important part, friends, this vertical focus is the most important part because it builds our pillar of light. The pillar of light is how we live a divine life, how we live in the world but not of the world. This is it. It is to live inside a pillar of light and to claim the fullness of it, as big as it is, be the size we truly are, and claim our right and our responsibility to raise the vibration of everything that's inside our pillar. We have the right to live our lives in sacred space. Claim it. Draw up the earth energy. Who noticed something on that spin the field exercise? Yeehaw, right? I'm not trying to be flippant. It's really something you can do in 30 seconds to make a huge difference in your state of well-being. Maybe I was trying to be flippant. I stand corrected.